Is the FLYCAM Redking worth it in 2022? I've been filming on the FLYCAM Redking for about 3 years now, and today I'm going to give you my honest, long-term review, and I'm going to be revealing whether or not I think this is still a good stabilizer in 2022. Stick around. Okay, so first let's go over the physical design a little bit. Up top we've got the head of the FLYCAM, and on the sides we have these quick balancing knobs, and those are super handy for balancing your camera really quickly and really easily. We've got a Manfrotto quick release plate attachment up here, and that's really nice because a lot of other tripods use the Manfrotto plate, so you can just have one plate on your camera and it's a nice versatile simple system. Down below the head we have the shaft and the gimbal on the shaft. This gimbal is adjustable. You can adjust this gimbal up or down if you need to help you balance it, which is nice, so you don't always have to adjust the bottom out or add more weights whenever you need to make a balance adjustment. The handle has a nice grip on it. I have heard of some people having these slip on them, so if you have that problem, just get some glue and glue it on. It should be good to go, but that's very solid. Also, keep in mind, this FLYCAM is 3 years old. I've been using it for the past 3 years, and it's still like as good as new. You know, I haven't had anything break on me. So really solid construction. Down here at the bottom, we have the adjustment to extend the bottom of the FLYCAM out. I've never really needed to extend it very far. I like to keep it as compact as I can. I'd rather add more weight to the bottom than extend it out a long ways. And at the bottom, we have these little rubber feet things, I guess, for when you set your camera down. Super nice. Those have never popped off on me or anything. And then you have the weights, of course. And these right here unscrew very easily. These are 1/4 inch bolts, but they're not 1/4-20, which is a little annoying. So you can't use other 1/4-20 nuts or wing nuts on them. They're like 1/4-24 or something like that. So, or they're metric, I'm not positive. But overall, the build quality of this thing is awesome. I'd give it 10 out of 10 on the build quality. And yeah, I've been using it for 3 years and I haven't had any problems with it. Okay, so like I've already mentioned, I got this FLYCAM 3 years ago, and that's when I started out in video production. This has been my only stabilizer. I've had no need to upgrade. So that is one thing I've really liked about it, is that it's grown with me. I started out on this thing with a Canon Rebel SL2 with the kit lens. Then I upgraded to the Sigma 17-50. And I will say those lightweight setups are a little bit lightweight for this thing. It does better with a heavier camera than a lighter camera. And now I shoot on it with a Pocket 6K and a Sigma 18-35 or a Sigma 24-70. And the whole rig, when it's rigged out, is about 12 pounds. So it handles those heavier cameras really well. And some people would say the Blackmagic is still a lightweight camera. It's heavy for me, okay? Okay, so now that I've shared with you the physical design and the build quality of the FLYCAM Redking, as well as my history with the FLYCAM Redking, now I'm going to show you all the pros and cons to buying this stabilizer in 2022. Okay, so the first pro to using the FLYCAM Redking is that it's only $200. It's a very cheap stabilizer, but it's also a very solid stabilizer, as I've already shown you. So it's a great investment when you start out in video production because it can grow with you, even though it's not a super expensive stabilizer. So price-wise, this thing is good. It's good on the price. I don't know how else to say that. The next big pro to using the FLYCAM Redking is its versatility. As I probably already mentioned, I use this with a Pocket 6K rig to film weddings. I shoot weddings solo, and I use the FLYCAM Redking, and it's extremely versatile because I have the Manfrotto plate on the bottom of my Pocket 6K, and I can easily switch between the FLYCAM, my tripods, and also handheld. So it's extremely versatile, and also when I'm shooting a wedding, I can easily just set this down somewhere, and I don't have to worry about someone running into it and knocking it over or anything like that, because it's solid and it's not gonna break. Nobody's just gonna go and break it, right? It's very reliable, very versatile. And to continue from the last pro, another big pro to using the FLYCAM Redking is that mechanically, it's very simple and it's extremely reliable. To compare to an electronic gimbal, I know there's a lot of great electronic gimbals out there today, but you know, this doesn't have batteries. It's not gonna run dead. It's extremely reliable. It's one less thing you have to charge. As I already mentioned, I can set this on the ground and not worry about it at a wedding because of the build quality as well, but it's just very simple. Probably the only thing you need to be careful about is not to get dirt or sand in this mechanical gimbal right here, because that will add friction to the gimbal and you don't want that. So, but I mean, beyond that, that's about as complicated as it gets, is that mechanical gimbal. So, very solid, very reliable, very versatile. Let's keep going. Another big pro to using the FLYCAM Redking is its max payload of 15.4 pounds. I don't plan on using a camera that heavy on this thing, but it's been really nice because I was able to build out my entire Pocket 6K rig and I can put the whole thing on top of here. I don't have to break down my rig more to fit it on the stabilizer like you would on a gimbal. It just all fits up there and it supports it, and you just add some more weights at the bottom and you're good to go. So once again, it's very simple, but it can also handle a lot of weight. Now, on the note of weight, I will add a little con to using the FLYCAM Redking, is that though it will handle a lot of heavy cameras really well, it doesn't perform as well with a lightweight camera. Like, it still works, but it doesn't perform as well. The gimbal is just a little overkill for such a lightweight camera, so it can be hard to get really stable results with such a lightweight camera on top of it, and you might even have to take all the weights off. So if you have a lightweight camera, I would recommend figuring out a way to add more weight to the top, because that's going to give you better results. Another con, or at least something that most people might consider a con, is that the FLYCAM is going to take a lot of practice to learn how to use, just like any other Steadicam. Personally, I think it's worth learning and it's a valuable skill to have, but a lot of people would say that that's a disadvantage. And I mean, you can't pull this out of the box and get stable footage. It doesn't work that way. You really have to learn how to use it, which is why I'm going to show you how to balance it in this video, and hopefully, you know, speed up that learning curve for you if you just picked one of these up. But yeah, you definitely have to practice with it a lot in order to get stable footage. So just keep that in mind. You're not just going to get this in the mail and have stable footage just like that. Another con to the FLYCAM Redking, and this is probably the biggest con for me right now, is that when you're using the FLYCAM Redking and you're stabilizing your camera, I use the Pocket 6K like I mentioned, and the Pocket 6K doesn't really have autofocus, so I use manual focus. Well, when you're stabilizing along, as a one-man crew, you can't really reach up there and focus while stabilizing. It doesn't really work very well. Maybe if somebody's a wizard and they're really good with this thing, they can reach up and lightly focus and go back to stabilizing. But I'm not that good. It's just very challenging to focus and stabilize at the same time. So a problem I've had with that is filming weddings during certain events where I need to be doing both of those things at the same time. The results are a little bit hit or miss. They're less reliable, right? So during a wedding send-off, I'm usually tracking backwards with the photographer, and the couple is usually not staying the exact same distance away the whole time, which is a problem. And so a lot of times they're out of focus for part of the time. Yeah, that is a big problem for me. Now, if you use autofocus, you're good to go. I mean, this thing is going to be great for you. But using manual focus, that's a big con I've run into, is that, you know, without having somebody else with me with a follow focus, it's really hard to do both of those things at once. So that's a con for me, but if you use autofocus, you should be good to go. So with all of the pros and cons and everything on the table, do I think this is still a good stabilizer to buy in 2022? And the answer is, it depends on who you are. I think the FLYCAM Redking is perfect for someone who's getting into video, who's on a budget, but who also wants a stabilizer or equipment in general that's gonna grow with them, and who is not scared to get out and learn a new skill and practice and learn how to use a Steadicam. And I do think that learning to use a Steadicam is still a very valuable skill in 2022. And for videographers who are a little more established and have a little bit more of a budget, I think there's better stabilizers out there if you have a bigger budget. But once again, I think this is still a great professional option. Personally, in 2022, I'm really torn because I've gotten good at the FLYCAM Redking and I do really like it, but that big con of not being able to pull focus and stabilize at the same time is becoming more of a glaring problem in my work. So I'm looking into getting the DJI RS2, which should allow me to pull focus at the same time thanks to its focus system that comes with the combo kit. But that's not a problem everybody will have. I understand a lot of people are shooting on DSLRs and mirrorless that have great autofocus. So, I mean, if you have autofocus, I think this is still an awesome stabilizer. Okay, so that is enough talking about the FLYCAM Redking. That is my long-term review of it. I still think it's a great stabilizer. I think this video is running kind of long, so I think I'm going to save the how to balance video for another day. I will leave a link to the FLYCAM Redking in the description, as well as the links to my entire Pocket 6K rig. Now those are affiliate links, so I do make a small commission at no extra cost to you, so I appreciate it if you do use those links. And with that said, have a great day, and thank you for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.